What is up, guys? Kevin from the KO Sports Corner. Extremely excited to have this special guest on today. We have Nando Diaz, aka the Miami Sports Vibes podcast. Nando, my man, how are you today? We have a lot to talk about.
I'm doing great, Kevin, man. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to do this, talk some Miami sports, bro. It's a great time to be a Miami sports fan, like we were talking about yesterday, man.
Yeah, at the moment of the recording, which is Thursday, the Dolphins are on a 5-game winning streak. They beat the Ravens in Thursday Night Football, beating the Texans. They beat the Giants. I know I'm missing another team. I'm not sure which one it is right now, but they've been
Carolina,
getting it done.
Carolina,
Carolina,
Carolina.
very good
Yep.
defense. And the Miami Heat beat the Milwaukee Bucks with against Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. That big three had not lost this season. I'm pretty sure they were 11-0. And the G League team of the Miami Heat was able to beat out that Milwaukee Bucks team in a thriller at the end of the day. Caleb Martin with 28 points. We'll get into that later. I want to start with the Dolphins. What have been your thoughts on this team so far? Horrible start to the season. We thought it was all over, and all of a sudden they're back into this, man.
Man, initial thoughts, honestly, it's just the way they were able to battle, man. The way they were able to not give up. I talk about this on my podcast. Like anybody who goes 1-7, you go through a 7-game losing streak. Typically, like sometimes you hear players quit on their coaches, they give up, they pack it in, they're already thinking about where they're going on vacation. But credit to this team, man. They stayed resilient, they stayed believing in the process, and that's what I'm most excited about. Is that a team that we thought that was just probably going to give up on each other. They found a way to come together, and now it looks like they're having fun again. And whether playoffs or not is going to happen, I like the fact that they're having fun, they're playing competitive, and that's all that a Miami sports fan can ask for, bro. Just play out there, play your heart out, play competitively, play together, and just be hardworking. And that's what they're showing us, man.
Yeah, and I do believe there are some players we should be able to shout out. A lot of young guys on this team. We're going to mention Xavier Howard, Byron Jones, but we have to start with the man who's, put his team on the back in a way. Tua Tagovailoa, here he is with the stats: 1,945 yards, 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. A lot of those are really bad interceptions, but then his QBR is a 58.2. Nando, man, what have been your thoughts on Tua's season so far? I mean, started off with an injury. Jacoby Brissett couldn't get it done, and then Tua comes in with a broken finger. For many that don't know, he injured his finger, came in that Thursday Night Football game and won that game for Miami. Your thoughts on Tua's season, man?
Yeah, well, we're talking about 2 injuries as well. Because remember,
Yeah.
early on in the season, game 2, he ended up with those cracked ribs, and then that sidelined him, put him on IR for about 3 games. I think he missed 3 or 4. Came back against Jacksonville. So you have that early on in the season. You got the whole situation with the coach and the owner, the Deshaun Watson stuff. He hears all that. So
Yeah.
immediately, you feel bad for the guy, but credit to him. He was able to put his big boy pants on. He got the injured finger, but he was able to come in and produce. And now he's looked better than ever, man. And this is the potential that you like. What you're seeing right now is the potential what Tua can be. Is he going to be Aaron Rodgers off the rip? No. Is he going to be Patrick Mahomes off the rip? No. So these type of players, they take time to develop. I think Tua is going to be a great quarterback probably in his 3rd or 4th year, but he's just going through natural progressions, man. Nothing what I'm seeing is surprising me at all. But what I like the most is that he's doing it, for himself. He's not out to prove anybody wrong or anything like that. He's just doing it for himself, honestly, because I mean, if it was me, man, I don't know how you feel about this, but if it was me and my coach wasn't really defending me, I would be like I don't really care about this guy,
Yeah.
But he's put his big boy pants off on, and he's rattling off some great performances, man. I think the best is yet to come.
Yeah, and man, the way he's doing it, because his offensive line, no offense to them, they're garbage. There's no other way to say it. This is a horrible offensive line. Austin Jackson lately been a little bit better when he got his position changed, but Austin Jackson was really bad. He was getting penalty after penalty after penalty. Austin Ryder not been good. Then they have Greg Mance, who seemed like he was going to be pretty good for the team. Didn't turn out to be good. Austin Ryder been pretty bad overall. Jesse Davis has been horrible. This offensive line has been bad. The receivers have been injured. Will Fuller, we've seen him for one game, I'm pretty sure, 1 or 2 games. It's been an absolute disappointment. I'm glad they gave him that 1-year deal. Just move on from him the next season. Preston Williams has barely been able to play. Devontae Parker has his usual IR stints for twice already. So you look at it, Tua has nothing. And that's why we have to shout out the next guy, Jalen Waddle. Hopefully in the running for that rookie of the year, maybe even offensive rookie of the year. 86 receptions, tied second in the NFL. Not amongst rookies, amongst the whole NFL. You have 849 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an average of 9.9 yards. Your thoughts on Jalen Waddle? This has been the best offensive player besides Tua, in my opinion.
Man, Jalen Waddle, honestly, he continues to excite me, man. I smile thinking about it right now, bro. It's just immediately that impact that he's made. He hasn't even gone through any, rookie progressions where he's taken a while to take off. This guy's taken off from the rip, man. And even when Brissett was back under center, he was just that constant, reliable target. He just finds ways to get open, whether he's in the slot, whether they're doing wide receiver screens. He's getting more yards after catch, especially. But with the thing with Tua knows how to hit him in stride, man. You've seen it at Alabama. You can see the chemistry's there. You can feel it as a fan just watching it, watching how they, smile for one another after they celebrate for each other's success. Jalen Waddle's been awesome, man. And now you said what, second in the NFL in receptions?
Yep.
This guy's only gonna get better, man. And that just excites me as the Dolphin fan. Like the fact that you have a rookie wide receiver and a young quarterback, that duo right there. Just imagine they're doing all these things now. Just you can only imagine what they're gonna do in the future, man. I'm excited about Jalen Waddle, and I'm sure you are as well, man.
Yeah. I'll always remember when he got drafted. I personally was extremely shocked. I did not expect Waddle's name to be connected to Miami at all. I was expecting either Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase. Chase went to pick prior. When I heard Jalen Waddle, I was happy, obviously, because this guy is a top guy, extremely fast. But man, I was shocked. I was expecting Devontae Smith for the Dolphins, especially with that Alabama connection, which although Jalen Waddle has it, he said on there he prefers Mac Jones and everything. I mean, you started to think, man, this guy may not come to Miami, but hey, it's worked out perfectly. He's been their best target. He definitely deserves at least offensive rookie of the year. And then moving on to the defense with the guys who started to step up. Once again, rookie JEVON Holland, 35 solo tackles, 2 interceptions, 9 passes defended, and 2 sacks. And I love how Miami used him during that Thursday night football game against the Ravens. We will all remember that blitz, always having him on Lamar Jackson, which, man, that may have been Lamar Jackson's worst game, I think, in a while. Your thoughts on JEVON Holland? Then we'll get into the other guy who made NFL Dolphins history the other day.
So JEVON Holland, man, immediately I think about when we drafted him. And when we drafted him, I was so happy, man. Everything I read about this kid was that he can be like an Ed Reed type of player, not exactly Ed Reed, but the same type of skills when it comes to ball hawking ability, just able to find the ball. He can blitz. And that's the things that excite me. Also, that was the first safety off the board. So there was no other safety that the Dolphins thought were better than that guy. So they got their pick at safety, who exactly they wanted. He was ranked number 1 on their board, and they took him, and it paid off, man. And this is JEVON Holland in the beginning of the season, kind of a slow start, but throughout this winning streak, man, he's just continuing to amaze me. He's balling, he's putting up numbers, he's everywhere on the field. I'm excited for him, especially, man, and just the potential, everything that I got excited about when they selected him as a rookie in the draft. It's now I'm seeing it, man. And just like I said with Waddle, man, this guy, we're halfway through their rookie season in a way. Like the potential is ridiculous, bro.
And he has to be considered for defensive rookie of the year. I know it's going to be Trayvon Diggs. I know it will because the guy's been incredible, but you have to consider at least JEVON Holland as a candidate. This guy has been one of the biggest pieces on defense. And that obviously there's Xavier Howard, who's been incredible as well. Started off extremely slow and then got it going after that. And then I personally didn't know much about JEVON Holland. I heard about him maybe a day or two before the draft that Miami had some interest. It seemed like this guy would be a great fit. He was from Oregon, which now we know who the Oregon coach who's in Miami. Now, we could get into that later maybe at the end. But yeah, JEVON Holland has been a huge piece. I love how they've been using him, especially with the blitz that Miami, it's the casual blitz that Miami ran in 2020. Now they're starting to bring it back in 2021. And then there's Jalen Phillips. This guy started off slow, barely known. And all of a sudden, man, this guy is just one of the best players on this team defensively. What have been your thoughts on him? Here are his stats. You guys can read them on the screen there for the ones watching.
Oh, man. Jalen Phillips, man. Where do I start? First of all, I got to start with being honest with you, man. At 18, I did not want Jalen Phillips at all. And
I didn't expect it.
I'm a Miami Hurricanes guy. I've watched Jalen Phillips. I love Jalen Phillips. I think his potential is unbelievable. I think he's going to be crazy in about after his second season, probably going into that third, elite. I'm talking about he has all the skill sets that you need to be a dominant pass rusher. But I was worried about the injury history, the concussion injury history. And I wanted Najee Harris, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I wanted Najee Harris. I love that connection with Tua.
And now we see it. Now we see how much we needed him.
Yeah, and the chemistry's there. And I know the O line is bad. That people say that he wouldn't do good, but I think Najee is that good that he'll be able to do something, and definitely better than what we got now. So I just want to throw that out there. I wanted Najee, but listen, I did not hate the pick after we got Jalen Phillips. By no means necessary. I thought it was a bad pick. I just rather have gone a different route. But man, now this guy's had a slow start. He wasn't really getting enough playing time. He was being used probably not even the way he should be. But throughout
Yeah,
this winning streak, that's another guy. Throughout this winning streak, man, now he's at what, 8.5 sacks as a rookie, and he didn't.
8.5. Yep.
Yeah, and he hasn't even started. He didn't even start the season playing as much as he is now. So there goes to show you, man, this guy is taking advantage of the opportunity given to him, and that's another thing that excites me, man. You're a rookie guy who was a first round pick. You know you got a big ego. You know what you can do. You know you can contribute, and that you're being basically sidelined or not being shown. You're not showing what you can do for throughout the first beginning of the season, and then you come in with that chip on your shoulder and make a instant impact. That's crazy. If this guy can get to 10 sacks, double digit sacks as a rookie, man, that's like Jason Taylor level, honestly, which is
Mm.
that's exciting alone.
I know he broke, I think it was the single season sack record for a rookie at 8.5
Look at
in
that.
the Dolphins franchise. But man, yeah, I did not expect Phillips to go there. I think in my final mock draft, which I made, I had him going to Tennessee, which was a great fit as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was either Najee Harris or Elijah Vera Tucker for me. I wanted those guys on Miami. We needed offensive lineman help. Vera Tucker knows Austin Jackson as well. Would have been a great fit. And then you have Najee Harris, who, man, now you really need it. Although they brought in Philip Lindsay, which I love the pickup. I absolutely love it. They brought in Duke Johnson, I'm pretty sure it's who it is. You can
Hmm.
just see how different that dynamic is. But the final guys on special teams, I think you know where I'm going with this. He's had a good season, honestly, and he does deserve a Pro Bowl vote in terms of special teams. It's Matt Collins, man. This
Oh
guy's
man.
the captain of one of the captains this season. 13 receptions, 4 touchdowns, 183 yards. We gotta give a shout out to this guy. He's really shown, from his time in Philadelphia when many expected him to be the main receiver there, getting cut, getting claimed by the Dolphins. Didn't have a big time season last year's most memorable moment was the Cincinnati game with the fighting, that the brawl that occurred there. To
Yep.
now, this guy's a big time piece of that offense because of so many guys who've gone down and making incredible special teams plays. Which, I mean, there was that one, I think it was the Carolina game where he got it from the 1 yard line, brought him all the way back. I think that's the most memorable one if it was
Yep.
that game. But yeah, Matt Collins, man, your thoughts?
Matt Collins, honestly, that's class act professional. First of all, this guy just lights up the room every time you hear him on the press conferences. He's a funny guy, high
Yeah,
character guy. He seems like a good team player, and you always need a guy like that, somebody that's upbeat, that's a captain, and he has all those skills checked off. He kind of reminds me of like the Bobby McCain, but of offense, and that's something that the Dolphins needed. This guy's extremely reliable when he's out there on the field. He's a big body. He's able to make some unbelievable catches. He also did it last year. Remember, he caught a touchdown in Arizona, which was to his, big time game
yeah.
against the Cardinals. And this guy just finds a way to just get open and make plays, man. And sometimes I wish they could give him the ball more because he's honestly, you think about reliable targets. It's Jalen Waddle, it's Mike Gesicki, and you can't tell me Matt Collins isn't third. I mean, Matt
Yeah.
Collins to me is third. It could be Devontae Parker, but he's in and out the
Injuries.
lineup. Yeah, so Matt Collins, extremely reliable, man. You always need a guy like that. That's like a quarterback's best friend. I just wish they would find some more plays, but hey, he's doing it on special teams and he's doing it on other things, like you said. Listen, Matt Collins, like bravo, man. Excellent. Excellent what we've gotten from him this season.
Yeah, and the way he's came up, I mean, not known. No one talks about this guy. Us, obviously, on Twitter know about this guy because we see him play every Sunday, and we also have to remember he's the one who made the catch in that Las Vegas game with the Ryan Fitzpatrick helmet call. Well, I think we'll always remember that one.
That's right. I
But yeah,
forgot about that. That's right. Good call.
yeah. So Pro Bowl's coming up. What are those? I guess top five or as many as you want to name, because obviously we would vote the whole team, in my opinion, but the offensive line. But Pro Bowl votes, they're coming up. Who are those guys that you're selecting? I made a video on this, I think, yesterday. So
Uh,
yeah,
for the Dolphins.
yeah, for the Dolphins, in terms of just the Dolphins players.
This one's a little hard for me, honestly. Being that they just dug themselves in such a big hole, 7 straight losses. It's hard to give a lot of credit to them to select them into a Pro Bowl, and that's nobody's fault but themselves. I mean, they dug themselves in this hole, falling to Las Vegas when you had a 14-point lead, falling to Jacksonville, you got out coached there. What else?
Game too.
The Atlanta game. So, you put up those bad performances, that it's going to be hard to get some Pro Bowl selections, but immediately, like a guy, to me, Jalen Waddle, I know he's a rookie, probably not going to make it, but what he's doing out there, I mean, like you said, second in the league in receptions, he's making plays, he's constantly, like, people know this guy's going to get the ball, and he's still getting the ball. So to me, that alone, I think Jalen Waddle deserves some serious consideration. Mike Gesicki is another one. That's another one that's, basically double covered every time, still makes plays. That's a reliable target for Tua. And we mentioned it earlier. Tua's getting the ball out because of these offensive linemen quick. So these guys are getting doubled and the ball's coming out quick. The defense pretty much knows what's coming, and these two are still making plays. So Mike Gesicki and Jalen Waddle, I think they deserve some Pro Bowl considerations. And, it's like Xavier Howard, I think he's a lock. Honestly, what he does is constant, just getting turnovers for your team. And not only that, if you don't hear Xavier Howard's name in a game, it's probably a good thing. It probably means he's locking that guy up, whoever's there. So these are things that aren't really on the box score. But to me, Xavier Howard should be a lock for a Pro Bowl every single season. I mean, we know what he's capable of. And then a dark horse for me, I mean, getting 8.5 sacks as a rookie, that's no joke. So Jalen Phillips, I think they all deserve consideration when I'm talking about Holland, Phillips, and Waddle. But if I had to pick, like, two locks, I would go with X-Man, and I would pick Waddle, honestly. I think those would be my two, like, definites. But if I had to vote 5, it would be those 5.
Yeah, I do have obviously a couple guys. I think you have to include Matt Collins just in terms of special teams, teams, because not many guys get voted in that category. When I was looking at that ballot, the only guy I noticed there was Matt Collins, and I think he definitely will make it for special teams. I don't think he'll make it for any other position.
I didn't even think about that. You're right. You're right about that.
Jalen Waddle needs to get recognition, as well as Javon Holland. I know everyone wants him in the Pro Bowl. I don't think Tua gets it this year. Maybe next year if he just goes crazy next year, has a good season, doesn't get injured, plays all 16 games, then you could consider it. Gesicki needs it, and X-Man as well. Xavier needs it. A dark horse pick, we not mentioned Brandon Jones. He's been extremely good this season for the Dolphins. Quietly good. I know many have considered him as a Pro Bowl vote. I think people should. I don't think he'll get in at all, but he's going to be a guy who I want to get your thoughts on for sure. Brandon Jones, that he does deserve to make the Pro Bowl. I don't think he'll get in because of the small recognition. And you did mention that they dug themselves in this hole, but they've been digging themselves out. They're the second team to do this, lose seven straight and then win 5 straight after that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give credit to the whole team, honestly.
Exactly,
and right now, like, everyone looks good, with the exception of the offensive line.
The offensive line has looked better, I will say, but still not good enough.
Yeah, they have looked better, but that's the thing. It's kind of hard for voters to probably give them the vote because of that. It's, even though they have dug themselves out and they look good, it has to. I need more of a sample size, and I think the voters need more of a sample size. But Brandon Jones has been quietly good. I'm extremely excited for his future on this team. What he can do. You have a guy like him and Holland. Like, those are 2 good safeties, and they're just going to get better. So he's definitely had a good season. I'm excited for his future. I think he's going to be good. But Pro Bowl, I think not yet. But I think all of these guys, man, the fact that we're even considering them in some sort of way, like potentially being Pro Bowlers, that just excites me alone, because they just put these things together. Maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, we can have a lot of Pro Bowlers, and how exciting would that be? That's why I'm also like, I really hope that this team continues to just do things the right way, just the way we're doing. Don't chase for no Deshaun Watson, none of that stuff. Like, stick with what you're doing. It's working, man. Just gotta stay consistent and stay stable. Organizations have to be stable if you want to get out of that hole, man.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Deshaun Watson, but at this point, it was months on Twitter everywhere, and I don't even want to mention it.
Hey, we've got enough, man. Us Dolphin fans, everyone listening to this probably has had enough of it, bro. We all know how everyone feels about it, pretty much.
Yeah, and just let's pretty much talk about the playoffs. The Miami Dolphins, with a weak AFC and a weak NFC, pretty much, it's been so tight. And just to go through what's up for the Dolphins. They have a bye this week. Week 15 is the New York Jets. Then you have the New Orleans Saints on Monday Night Football, which they don't have their starting quarterback right now. Tennessee Titans, which most of the times we've beaten. And then there's the New England Patriots with Mac Hollins. They're riding 8-4. They just beat Buffalo on Monday night. With what's left, do the Dolphins make the playoffs? And I guess which games will they win and which ones will they lose?
Oh man, well, I'm enjoying this winning streak so damn much that I want to continue to enjoy it week by week.
Oh,
I
trust
don't
you.
I don't want to think and put that on myself and you know prepare to just be heartbroken, man. I honestly I mean this, man. It's hard to do this, but I'm in that week by week approach, man. I'm just enjoying it as we go because they last time I had my guard down and I had high hopes was the beginning of the season and they crushed me, man. I reached such a low point that I've learned my lesson and I'm just a week by week guy, man. But do I think they can do it? Of course. I mean, they have a chance. You're playing meaningful games. You're right there in the hunt. The AFC, like you talked about, is not that good. You could do this. What I think the final record could be, I can see them finishing 9-8. Now, I see them winning against the Jets. I mean, let's be realistic. It's the Jets. We should win that game. We're at home. We're coming off a bye. All that. Then
That's what I said that's what I said for Jacksonville, for Atlanta.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it's hard, but you got to do it. And then
No, yeah.
the Saints game, it's a primetime game. They don't have their starting quarterback. You know, you're riding high right there. You're at 6 games in a row at that point on a win streak. You finally get that primetime game. All Dolphin players want this. You get up for that game. You win that game. Then I say Tennessee's a letdown game right there on the road. But
Yeah.
then it comes down to that final game, and you're 8-8 at that final game. You beat the Patriots once. It's hard to beat a team twice, but this time you're at home. You're playing for something, potential playoffs. And I think the Dolphins would get up and I think they could win that game, finish 9-8. I think they honestly can finish 9-8. But the question is, we're going to need a lot of help. I don't know if those other teams up in front of us are going to be able to lose the games we need them to lose. I mean, we've dug ourselves in a hole, like I said before. That's right there where I'm like, but I think they should at least finish 9-8. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad, honestly. If they finish 9-8, I mean, you turn around from 1-7 and finish the season, what after that? That's 8-1. That's incredible. I mean, honestly. So I mean, it sucks because I would like to get in the playoffs, but I would love to see that turnaround, man. I don't know about you. What do you think? Do you think they can make it?
I do think they can make it, but man, you really have to root hard against Buffalo at this point.
Yeah.
And lucky for us, they're currently standing at 7-5. They're playing Tampa Bay, Super Bowl reigning champs. Those guys are playing extremely good football. Tom Brady. They don't have Mike Evans in. I'm pretty sure they don't have Antonio Brown because of the COVID vaccination card.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Tom Brady somehow always gets it done.
Yeah.
So in that case, Buffalo 7-6. Miami beats the Jets. You're 7-7. Man, and then you play Saints on Monday night. You're 8-7. That Tennessee game is a letdown game, but man, the Dolphins I think could beat the Titans. They don't have Derrick Henry. Julio Jones has been not good this season. Who is it? They have AJ Brown. He's been okay. You look at it, Miami definitely could beat that Tennessee team, but I don't think they will. I think that's a letdown game. Their streak ends there. You're going to Miami. Mac Jones' first game in Miami. The heat's going to get to him. He's used to playing in that Foxborough, the cold of Foxborough. He's used to it now. He's going to go to Miami and he's going to suffer from that just like Tom Brady did most of his career. And they're going to win and they'll finish 9-8. Now, will they make the playoffs? Everything has to go right for them in terms of Buffalo losing. You beat the Patriots, and I think you'll finish over 500 in terms of your division record, which is extremely important in the NFL. That's what screwed up Miami big time last time, too. They couldn't beat the Bills. They beat the Patriots twice, I'm pretty sure, or they lost once to them last season. But they beat 1-1. 1-1. Yeah, we lost that first game, which was crucial, I guess, at the end. And that Denver game as well last season was crucial. I started to look back into it. But, man, Miami could have beat these teams like Atlanta this season, Jacksonville, and we wouldn't even be talking playoff scenarios, which we'll definitely get into once that Saints game is over with. We'll definitely be getting into that playoff conversation.
I agree, man. That I think if we do get to that point, man, and we we missed the playoffs and we're 9-8, and it's a heartbreaker. To me, the game that rings the bell is that Jacksonville game, bro. Honestly, that Jacksonville game, you had Tua back. There's no excuses. There was no Brissett. Their Jacksonville Jaguars team is not good. I know you're in London, but you're the better team, and you got outcoached that game. You should have won that game. And like I said, no one to blame but themselves, man. But
Yeah.
let's be positive though. It's a winning streak. We have a chance, and that's all you can ask for as a fan, bro. Have a chance.
And you also have to look about back at that Las Vegas game. That one was a heartbreaker for sure. You're up 14 points. I mean, it was just play good defense. To be honest, the Dolphins defense was not good until that Baltimore game, until that win streak really got going. But let's move on to the Miami Heat. It's been weird. It's been a weird season for the Heat. They started off incredible. They were the first seed, riding high. Then Bam goes down. Jimmy goes down. And then all of a sudden you lose to Denver twice, which you could have beat them for definitely. You're losing to these really good teams, and you're losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers, who, although they've been good, you're losing to Minnesota, who you should be able to beat. You lose to these teams that are rebuilding. I mean, what have been your thoughts on the Miami Heat so far?
It's kind of shaky, right? Because
Yeah,
in the beginning, yeah, everyone was riding high on this team, like, yo, we might be considered a real
yeah,
finals threat here, like potentially. Even I said it.
yeah,
And then we went through a streak, which typically happens in the NBA season, man. There's no way you're gonna stay as hot as you are for the entire season every month. I mean, it's it's possible, but it's unlikely. I mean, you only think about those record-breaking teams like those Golden State Warriors that went 73-9. But every team goes through down stretches right now. And that the Heat are going through it early, which is good, but the Heat are also an older team. So I'm not really worried about losses so early on in the season. At the end of the day, we're not even in Christmas Day. And I'm personally a type of guy that I don't think the season really starts until Christmas Day. That's the type of guy I'm like. After Christmas Day is when everybody, you know who you are, you know who you're gonna be, if you've taken that leap from a rookie to a sophomore, or a sophomore leap to a year 3 leap, your potential as a team, your roles as a team, that at that point. So I'm not hitting no panic button at all. A couple letdowns. I mean, some games, yeah, but it happens, man. And Bam going down, that's a tough one. That's gonna be real tough. But I know there's never a right time to. It sounds weird when I say this, a right time to have an injury, but it's kind of good that it happened now, because Bam actually had something wrong with his knee, and he had, I think it was tendonitis in his knee. And
yeah.
Bam Adebayo, this is a guy that he's not going to sit out. Like, if he can play, he's not going to sit out. So to me, I'm thinking he's getting more banged up. So now he goes through that thumb injury. He has nothing else to do but rest his knee. So I think this is good for Bam. I think they're going to come back even better. I think the Heat team is going to really reach their peak after Christmas break. For right now, you're going to get a little bit of shaky basketball, but we're going up against tough teams. The schedule will get easier. Guys will come back. Guys will be healthy, and we're going to be all right. With this Heat, just think about the playoffs, man. That's the way a roster is built. Think about playoffs. Don't overreact too much. And I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. It's been shaky. It's been a roller coaster, up and down. You start off riding high, you go down with all these injuries. Man, once after Christmas comes in, we have more of a clear look of how this NBA season goes, because somehow
Yep.
Cleveland's in this, Charlotte's in it, which, although Charlotte's a very fun team to watch, but you look at it and it's tough. And you start looking, man, the bench depth isn't the greatest, but those two-way contracts have been working out. Although Marcus Garrett has barely been playing, it's been Caleb Martin. We saw it yesterday. Milwaukee, 28 points. And that's where I wanted to go. This Miami Heat team can win without these guys, which that was the question many had. Can the Heat win with Bam and Jimmy? It seemed like it was a hard no. But last night you played the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. That team was pretty much healthy besides Brook Lopez and maybe one other guy. The G League Miami Heat, because pretty much all their G League alums and some guys who were down there sometimes, they played that game. They won that game against the Milwaukee Bucks, and it was a thriller until the end, where Miami got a good lead, and it was like a 9-point lead, and they ended it. I look at this team, and we all obviously, I'm going to shout out some guys, and I do want to make a comparison, because everyone's going to be hating on the Heat, especially for the Kyle Lowry signing. There's a lot of mixed emotions. And let's go into Kyle Lowry first. 13.3 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 7.8 assists. And I think you know where I'm going to go with this comparison, which is the guy they traded away, Goran Dragic. This was the 2020-2021 season. He's currently not playing right now due to some personal issues. He is at 13.4 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, 4.4 assists. I look at Lowry right here, and you look at Dragic, the assist numbers are drastically different. Points per game, pretty much the same. There's nothing that you're missing from Dragic that you're missing from Lowry, but you gain that assist, the assist and the rebounds, which is something that Dragic didn't do. He was a score-first point guard. He did not that he didn't pass the ball. He made great passes. He lobbed it up to Bam, Jimmy, whoever it was. But, man, I want to get into that comparison quickly, and then we'll keep going with some of the guys we should shout out, man. What are your thoughts on Lowry so far, and if we're really missing Goran, which I don't think we really
are? Nah, man. I mean, first of all, Goran Dragic.
I couldn't even put the Toronto Raptors jersey. You saw I put the Heat jersey. I couldn't even put that Raptors jersey.
It's right, bro. It's not right to show him with a Raptors jersey. It doesn't make sense. That guy's a true Heat lifer, no matter what. He's gonna be in our hearts forever, man. Every Heat fan has a soft spot for Goran Dragic because remember, he wanted to play through injury. He did play through injury in the finals. We talk about this guy who's had his teeth knocked off. He would bleed like crazy. He was always putting all out Heat culture on the court at all times. So Goran Dragic, I miss the dude. I love the dude. I wish he could be on our team off the bench. But as far as missing him, man, I don't know. We got an upgrade. We got an upgrade at the end of the day. We got Kyle Lowry. You showed the points per game stuff. It's very similar. Goran Dragic and Kyle Lowry, I think you can pretty much, if Goran is on his stuff, like they can pretty much both score at the same rate. But like you talked about, that rebounding that Kyle gives you and the assist that Kyle gives you, Goran isn't doing that. That's what I love about Kyle Lowry. He's just all gas, no breaks, man. He's getting the ball with the rebound. He's pushing it up ahead. He's constantly trying to get guys involved. He did it again yesterday. He had like 8 assists before he started to get his shot. Like he's really wanting to get guys involved initially in the game before he takes over. So he's able to flip a switch on and off. And that's a thing that the Heat didn't have from the point guard position. And I mean, since Tim Hardaway, maybe, and we're not even talking about Kyle Lowry's defense, which is A+. That guy can lock up pretty much any guard that you could put him up against. So huge upgrade. I love the addition of Kyle Lowry. You don't even look at the box score. Some guys will say, "Oh, he's only averaging 13 points a game." It's like, dude, watch the you watch the game. Kyle's impact, it's the box score doesn't even tell it, but you know what I'm talking about.
And not even that. Look at PJ Tucker. Barely scores throughout the games. He averaged 3 points a game throughout the whole season. I think that was last season. Yep. That defense is A+. He makes it happen, gets the rebound, and has been one of the best players on the Miami Heat in a way that's not even scoring. It's pretty much everything else. And that's where I go with Jimmy Butler. This guy does it all. He's currently injured now, but at 22 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 5.2 assists. The guy, it's Jim VP once again. He was up in the MVP ladders pretty much until he got injured. What have been your thoughts on his season so far?
Jimmy buckets, man. Jimmy buckets. What I love to see is that he's scoring the ball. He's scoring the ball more. He's not facilitating as much as before. I know you see the 5 assists, but you can argue, honestly, through watching him since being a Heat player, he's been too passive. He's trying to get guys involved. I like that. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like it was sometimes, he wouldn't flip that Jimmy takeover button for quite some time. But now that he's had a guy like Kyle Lowry that he can rely on, like, yo, Kyle, make sure you get Duncan shots. Make sure you get Tyler shots. Give these shots for Bam. And it's like he trusts Kyle. So now he's like, okay, I'm on full-on attack mode. And that's what I love to see is that he's going back to those, like, Chicago Bull Jimmy Butler days. And that's what excites me, man, because when Jimmy Butler's going to work late in games especially, who doesn't love to see that? I mean, that's our best player, bro. You want to be able to throw the ball to Jimmy Butler, everybody get out the way, and let this man go to work. That's what I love seeing players like that. So that's what excites me the most about Jimmy Butler. Defense, it's top-notch. I don't have to talk about that. Rebounding, to me, rebounding is an effort thing. Does Jimmy Butler show effort? Hell yeah. So what surprises me the most is the points per game. I love that Jimmy is hunting for his shot and coming through and delivering, man.
Yeah, and I think the most memorable moments of his Heat time or his Heat tenure at the moment, has been those NBA finals, those playoffs, man. We will always remember it was game 5 and game 6. The 40-point performance, I think that was game 5. And then the game 6 where he leaned on the score table. I think that's what it was at the time in the Orlando bubble, man. Those were some good times. That's, I think, when even Heat Twitter, and I'll go into that a little. That was when we were closest, man,
Yeah.
because we had nothing better to do. Just
Mm-mm.
watch the Heat and go crazy, man, because that Heat team was good, and I think that he could have won it. And that could be a whole other conversation. But the Heat could have won that NBA Finals if they were all healthy. They took it to 6 without Goran and Bam.
I think if Goran and Bam were both healthy, no doubt in my mind we win that series. I know the talent was all there in LA side, but that team chemistry that we had right there with that team, that group, everybody knew their roles, unselfish. You can't tell me otherwise. They would have won. They would have won the finals if they were all healthy, man.
And not even to mention, Jay Crowder was on that team. That guy was a sniper. I will forever regret the Heat giving Myers Leonard that 2-year deal instead of giving it to Jay Crowder. That is one of the biggest regrets the Heat should have at the moment, because Jay Crowder made it to the NBA Finals once again.
Yeah, listen, I've been saying this for such a long time. I've read. I don't think I can say it anymore. Then I understand them not doing it because what they were trying to do is save money for Giannis. They thought Giannis was going to come, so you didn't want to have that 3-year contract on your books. They offered Jay Crowder, I believe, it was a 1-year, 14 mil, and Crowder said no because he wanted the years. Obviously, you can't argue with that. You got to protect yourself and your family. So he took the 3 years, 30. But man, looking back at it now that Giannis didn't sign with us, imagine. I wish we kept Jay Crowder, man, because it's not even just his ability to snipe and hit those shots. I'm a big chemistry guy, and those guys loved each other, man. That group right there, to be in the bubble, to get to the finals, I really wish that we could have just ran it back last year with that team with Crowder, man. But we've gotten better. We're okay now. We got a new group here. PJ Tucker. To me, it's kind of like a Jay Crowder in a way, different type, but it brings that Heat culture, and the defensive presence. He can shoot the three, okay, not as well, but he gives you some of that toughness that you lacked.
Yeah, I just wish the Heat would have given at least Crowder a 2-year deal with a team option or a player option that 3rd year.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
I think he would have taken that too, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then, although 2021 was a disappointment overall, although they made the playoffs, but that was the first team that ever got swept by an Eric Spoelstra team, first one that got swept in the NBA playoffs. And there weren't even close games. Besides game 1, which was an absolute heartbreaker. I will forever remember that game. I don't even want to talk about it, man, because
Same.
It was tough. But after that, it wasn't even close. Miami made it close game 4. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's one guy on that team, it's Trevor freaking Ariza, man. That guy was extremely good. All we did was have to give up Myers Leonard, who eventually got released. I wish we would have brought him back on some kind of 1-year vet minimum. And then we'll move on to some other guys I want to talk about.
I wish we did too, man. Trevor Ariza was a guy that came in and immediately produced, man. It took a while for him to get his shot, but immediately once you were able to plug him in, you saw what he was able to do on that defensive end as a 4, because we had that missing since, like you talked about, since Jay Crowder. We haven't recovered from that. But I think that the Heat team, honestly, by getting Ariza and doing all these things, I honestly, like, looking at it, it felt like we were trying to make that same team that we went to the bubble with, if you know what I mean. Like, they had Ariza, but they were thinking Crowder, if that makes sense. It's like, as weird as it is, but I'm not surprised that we didn't bring back Ariza. I thought he was going to come back, but I'm not surprised that he ended up going to LA. I know he has LA ties. He wanted to be, he was a Laker before, and he was in our team, and then we got swept. So think about it. You're Ariza, you see LeBron over there, and you see this Heat team that just got swept. He went towards that way because it seemed like the safer play. I obviously disagree because I'm a Heat fan, but a lot of those guys, it's kind of like the LaMarcus Aldridge situation when he was a buyout guy. He picked the Nets because you look at the Heat team, and last year it's like, no, I'm not going there. It looked like a mess. I mean, now you look at it now, and it's like everybody would want to be here. But Ariza, I definitely think we could have used him, but he chose to go elsewhere, man. We got to move on with that.
Obviously I'm a Heat fan. In final words with Ariza, I would have came back to Miami overall. I don't care if
Yep.
LeBron's there. I don't care if Kevin Durant's in Brooklyn. The Lakers lost. They went into a play-in tournament at the end of the day. Miami didn't. Miami was the more successful team than the Lakers.
That's
You
true.
look at it, in Miami and the Los Angeles, that short offseason impacted both teams. Just no other way to say it. I think if we had a normal offseason, we would have been able to come back and maybe run it back, as you said, which that was what they wanted to do from the start. Pat Riley said it. He wanted to run it back. And what also surprised me about Ariza going to the Lakers was that, I think it was his first press conference on the Heat. He wanted to be a Miami Heat his whole time.
That's true.
He's wanted to come here for a couple of years now, just like Avisado to the Marlins. But we'll get into that, opening day once that comes up.
For sure.
But yeah, it's just so weird how the Ariza moment, this time with the Heat, ended, because I expected him to come back if it was a 1 or 2 year deal, whatever it was. But the last guy I want to mention for this season and the start that the Heat have had, and then we'll go to Bam, because there's a lot we could talk about Bam. It's Tyler Herro, the baby goat. Oh my God. That's all I could say. This guy in that preseason, in the start of the season, I don't think I saw one single Tyler Herro hate comment after that. 20 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 3.8 assists. He's dipped down a bit now, but that started the season, man. It looked like this man would be a 6th man of the year and maybe even more.
Tyler Herro, man. This right here is like, how do I explain this? So I've watched Tyler Herro throughout his whole college, through him play college. I'm a Kentucky basketball fan, so
Yeah.
I watched college, his entire freshman season, to him hitting big shots in March Madness, him knocking out Houston, and I believe it was the Sweet 16, if I'm not mistaken. Tyler Herro is a guy, and then drafted by my favorite team. Like, you go to my favorite college, my favorite team. Same with Bam. I've seen them. So Bam and Tyler, like, I'm so sensitive to when people talk about these guys. I defend them so much. And then we talk about it, right? We talk about there was just so much hate for Tyler Herro this offseason before the season started. People wanted to trade him for Colin Sexton or include him in all these other deals. I would tell guys, like, just relax. Let the guy go through his progressions. Like, he's about to go into year 3, okay? They would say, if you don't post nothing, no videos, then you're not working out. That's BS, man. This guy went to Kentucky. You don't go to Kentucky to play basketball unless you're hard working, unless you put those hours in at the gym. Tyler Herro has done that and more. And now people are starting to see, and all those haters, man, there was a lot, and they are so quiet now, man. This guy just jumped from 15 points a game to now 20. And I don't think he's slowing down. I think this is sustainable. I really think he's going to be averaging, if he drops off from 20, it'll go to 19. And you're talking about at least 19 points per game off the bench. That's 6th man of the year potential. I think Tyler's just going to get better and better and better as years go along. And I don't think 6th man is going to be his role. I think eventually he's going to be the starter for this Heat team. Probably not this year. I think they like the role with him off the bench, but in the future, this guy's going to be the starting 2 guard. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I mean, and that's the thing. This is off the bench. This isn't as a starter, because statistically, his first rookie year and his second year was an improvement. He didn't play well, though. You could see it. You could see nobody played well. Jimmy, towards the end, you could say Jim VP. Bam was just never right. It never seemed. Duncan was never right until after the trade deadline, where all these rumors completely were wiped off the face of the universe. But Tyler Herro this season, man, and Duncan Robinson, we got to get into this guy, because it's
For sure.
just an up and down. But Tyler Herro, man, it's like Duncan and Tyler Herro switched powers or something, man, because now Herro's the man. He's the man in Miami, and he does deserve to be a starter. But I like him off the bench, and that's where I want to keep him at the moment until you trade Duncan. I don't think they will. We'll get into that right now, but just Tyler Herro is the man. And with Duncan Robinson, it's been tough, man. It's been tough. Signs the 5-year, $90 million deal. Most by an undrafted player. The story was lining up for this guy to be an all-star, not a rookie, 3-point champ, hopefully sometime. It's just not going well for Duncan. He's not having a good season. Seems like he just can't make a 3-pointer. He had a good game in Indiana, and after that, he just hasn't been right. What's going on with Duncan? And I have my personal answer for this as well, for why Tyler Herro was not good in the second season.
You think what's going on with Duncan? I think it's hard, man. I don't. He's a hard worker, bro. He's not a
Yeah,
type of guy that's not caring. He's not the type of guy to say, "I got paid, I'm good." A lot of people are saying that. I think that's unfair. Duncan Robinson is a guy from just listening to his personality over the years, hearing him on the podcast that he does. You get the vibe. Like the dude cares about winning. The dude cares about his performances. He cares that he's a bad defensive player. Like he's working on all of these
he
things.
knows it too.
And he knows it. He knows it. It's just sometimes as a shooter, you have a bad stretch. And right now he's going through the bad stretch. I mean, I wish it would stop ASAP. And I think it will. I think it will. I mean, it's bothering him mentally. You can tell. I mean, this guy was putting out podcasts, every week? He hasn't put one up in, I think, 2 3 weeks.
Yeah,
That's kind of odd. If you think he doesn't care, then why is he stopping his podcast? This is what he does, right? So
that
obviously it's getting to him, man. And I think he's gonna be all right, bro. It's a bad stretch, but at the end of the day, the fact that I said that he's hardworking and he cares about this, I know eventually the shots are gonna start falling. And for right now, at least he's a decoy, because even though he's not making shots, those people stay on him, and that continues to open the floor for guys like Jimmy and Bam when they're healthy to go to work.
I think there's one simple answer for this.
What is it?
Teams that figured it out. They
You think
figured
so?
out Duncan Robinson. His first season with the Heat, the NBA bubble and all that, because he did have a rookie year, horrible rookie year, barely played. It was Dwayne Wade for a World Tour. They didn't know anything about this guy, not
Yep.
one single bit. Barely talked about in Michigan when he played there his college days. He was a good player, very well known in Michigan, but not around the NBA, not by scouts. He goes undrafted, comes into Miami. Teams didn't know what the hell to do with this against this guy. Same thing with Tyler Hero. Very not well known around the league. Second season for Tyler, they figured it out. They figured out they're pretty much decoys that are snipers. These guys are, and you said it well, decoy. I think that's what Duncan is right now. That's what he was last season. That first stretch, although he just makes buckets. They figured out Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. Tyler's switched up his game a lot now, because from his rookie year to now his third year, he's not making as much 3-pointers as we saw his rookie year.
You're right.
Duncan Robinson just hasn't switched up the game. He's kept it pretty much consistently running around that 3-point line, trying to get open, and teams are double teaming him. You notice it. We saw it in the NBA Finals in 2020. The Lakers somehow figured him out from game 1 to game 2. What in the world this guy was doing, and I think that's the issue.
Yeah, you're right. He has to add more to his game. I think he knows that. Hopefully he does work on that.
And it seems like he has a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like he's had, but some of these things take time. Like this guy wasn't one of the top prospects coming out of college. He was that underrated guy, that undrafted guy, and some things take some time. But I think he can. They figured him out, but I think there's ways that he can still get his shot off. Whatever it is, I'm sure the coaching staff's working on it. And at the end of the day, you need a shooter on your team if you want to win championships. You absolutely need it. At some point, he's gonna come through, and I'd rather have him on my team. Honestly, when you're thinking about finals, you need a Duncan Robinson on your team. The defensive stuff, I don't like it, but you absolutely need at least one sniper out there, and Duncan is that, regardless if he's not making the shots right now.
If his defense is mediocre at most, but he's making those shots, I'll have him any day on the court. I know 2020, it didn't seem like the defense was a big factor because this guy was just shooting the ball, just slinging it.
You're right.
And you start to think now this season, because Max Strus is in that same spot Duncan was. Came up, barely played, but man, he impressed that one seed that's last season on the two-way deal. And you start to see how Miami finds the talent. Now they found Caleb Martin, a guy who barely played in Charlotte, now in Miami, putting up 28 points in a game against the NBA champs over last season. Maybe you start to think Max Strus should be the starter. And I'm not one of those guys. I don't think he should, unless Duncan just stays on this stale streak that he's on right now, this cold streak. Maybe you start considering Max Strus. But at the end of the day, I think Duncan Robinson's great 3-point ability will come back at some point.
Me too. I'm targeting, like I said, that Christmas break. You got a couple weeks, but you got like 2. I'm giving Duncan like a 2 to 3 week stretch here before I'm convinced whether we should either, test the market, or I'll get a better feel. Like I'll be able to be more strict after Christmas. Like if you continue on this slump and it's past Christmas, You know, it's not just that you're slumping. It's that you're slumping and we're paying you that money. Like things are a little bit different now. Like when you get paid that money, we expect those shots to go down. We don't want a slump to last 2 months if we're paying you max money. Come on now.
And if you do look at the market, I don't know if this is in baseball, but he's on a 5-year deal. A lot of control left.
Yep.
His value is going to be immensely high. And you compare him to Joe Harris. That's the guy I think is his best comparison.
Yep.
And if you look at a Miami Heat comparison, you know, Wayne Ellington, the guy did it himself in Miami many years. He was on a cheap deal. He's now with the Lakers, coincidentally, the team that, you know, is just seems an old man team at this point for the Lakers. This is what it looks like.
It certainly does.
And we'll get into predictions very quickly.
Cool.
Miami Heat, where do they finish in the East at this moment? Where you see them at this moment finishing the East at the end of the season?
Okay. I'm going to factor in that the goal, again, is to have a good playoff run, potentially get to the finals. With that being said, that means we are going to have some days later on where we're going to rest guys in and out. I think Miami's playing for the 4 seed. And I think that's where they're going to target, and that's where they're going to get. They're going to start to, I think, load manage, even though they don't really do it. But I think, honestly, this is an exception. I think they know the window can be done here, and I think they're going to approach this playoff run a little smarter than they did previous years. I think they're going to play for the 4 seed, have home court throughout that first round, try to rest guys before. All you got to do is finish in the top 4. Give me home court first round, and I feel good about this team. So I say 4. But if you tell me does that mean I think those top 3 teams are better than Miami? No, absolutely not. I think they can beat the Bucks. I think they can beat the Nets. I think they can beat Chicago, Philadelphia. Nobody really scares me in a 7-game series. I think the potential. I think this team can beat anybody. But I think that they're gonna do a smart approach, and they're gonna play for that 4 seed. So I'm predicting the Heat finish in 4.
Okay, we're pretty much similar. I have them 3rd.
Okay.
Not much of a difference. You have Milwaukee first, Brooklyn second, then Miami. Chicago's been good, but right now I think they're going to dip. They have a lot of guys on that protocol right now. So I think that's a good time for Miami to take over that 3rd seed and keep it. I think they're 4th right now, so they're not far behind. The East is very tight. Washington has put up a lot of competition on Miami, a very good team this season with Spencer Dinwiddie, Bradley Beal, who definitely should be considered as an MVP candidate, in my opinion, at least Bradley Beal. Once it comes, you know, that December time, playoff time at the end of the season, I think we'll be talking Bradley Beal MVP candidate. But yeah, I see Miami at 3. Nobody scares me in this East, not a single team. Because Miami's beat Brooklyn this season easily. Miami's beat Milwaukee by 40, first game of the season. Everyone was healthy for Milwaukee, I'm pretty sure, besides Brook Lopez. They beat them last night with a G League team, pretty much. Almost a good 75% of these guys were either on the Miami Heat G League team in past seasons, like Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin. You have Marcus Garrett, who's in the G League now. Omer Yurtseven, who's been a little bit slow of a start, but I think overall he'll turn out pretty well. Against the defending champ Milwaukee Bucks, who swept the Miami Heat in the 4-game series last season. And that's where I see them finishing in terms of placement. And we'll get into, I guess, buyers or sellers. I know it's too early to tell, but I like to dream big. Miami, I mean, I don't see what they could give up. The only piece I think about them giving up is KZ Okpala. Do you see them as buyers or sellers this season?
Oh, I see them as this is interesting because you don't really have the contracts, I think, to get a crazy deal done. I don't know if the KZ value will be there. I don't think any team really wants KZ. I know he had a great game last night. If he can build on some of that, I think the value will go up. I don't think there's a spot for him long term. I think the Heat have had their trial run with KZ. Even though he looks good, when he's good, this is your chance to sell high. And hopefully they get a deal done, maybe a pick, maybe the Thunder will be interested. But I think where the Heat are going to improve their team and be buyers is with the buyout market. I think that's where they're going to make something because, you know, there's always a type of guy that shakes loose, whether it's going to be this year, a John Wall, a Kevin Love, maybe an Eric Gordon. I think that's where the Heat are going to be buyers. They're going to be able to pounce on a buyout guy. The buyout guy is going to see this time, not like LaMarcus Aldridge. They're going to see, hopefully, a good team that they want to join and possibly win a title with. But that's what the Heat have to do from right now until then. They have to win games. They have to show and be attractive to players for the players to want to come. Because last year we were 500 throughout the whole season. That's why LaMarcus didn't come here at the end of the day. If we were like hot, maybe the 2nd seed, 3rd seed, maybe LaMarcus would have said yeah. So I think the goal is, continue to stay attractive, win a lot of games, put yourself up high for when that buyout guy shakes loose, he'll be thinking about joining you. And I think that's where there'll be buyers. And then, get Oladipo back healthy. This team will be ready to go and to make a great push.
And that's something we haven't even mentioned. Victor Oladipo's injured, and he seems like he's going to be coming back better than ever, hopefully. He seems very confident. He's told many people he's going to be the best comeback story in the NBA. And you're right. I do think Miami's going to be those buyout teams that people are going to look at and be, Miami's not going to make trades. I think they'll make maybe one, and that's KZ.
Me too.
Maybe they give up Markieff if he just doesn't come back right. You got value there. But man, Miami doesn't have much to give up like last season. Last season, they were able to pull off that Victor Oladipo trade, which now you look at, turned out pretty well for the Heat, although, he barely played. But Vic is back on a 1-year vet minimum. No one would imagine Victor Oladipo a couple years ago, All-Star in Indiana, sending a 1-year vet minimum with the Miami Heat, fighting for his life right now, pretty much, because no one believes in this guy. He will come back better than ever. Only us Heat fans will. Maybe some people that know what the Miami Heat culture is about and know what's about. They know he will come back better than ever. In my opinion, he's going to come back great. Going to pair great with Tyler HERRO off that bench. Although Gabe Vincent has been pretty good. He's been holding his stretch. But if I look at one target right now, and if they buy him out, you look at Goran Dragic. I know I'm a Heat fan and all, but maybe Toronto buys out Dragic. I don't think they will. I'm 99% sure they won't do it. But if somehow Miami could work maybe a deal of KZ Okpala and someone else, maybe a Gabe Vincent, and you send it over to Canada for Goran Dragic, I know that you have to make some exception with the money there, but Goran Dragic would be great backup point guard off this bench. And I look at Indiana, Miles Turner, not going to happen, but definitely a great fit there as well.
Yeah, Dragic would be great, but I think there's a rule, if I'm not mistaken, that if you trade him to the team, per se the Raptors, and then the Raptors waive him, he can't sign with the Heat on a buyout.
Okay.
He has to be recovered by another team and then waived by that team, because I guess it's smart in a way, because then it would look like we're kind of manipulating the situation, knowing that Dragic was gonna get bought out. But I don't know I think it would work by a trade, but I don't think they have the money to match. But I immediately thought that. I'm not gonna lie. I immediately thought that once he got to Toronto, I'm like, man, how nice would this be? And then I dove into the rules, and then I saw right there that it won't be able to happen. That would have been a perfect piece.
That makes a lot of sense too.
It does.
And I saw this the other day. Brad Wanamaker, very good piece. I think that would be great. TJ McConnell, I know he signed an extension. Maybe I know he's injured now, but you have to really go diamond in the rough guys. Although it's on a vet minimum, who's barely producing on a team that they won't play on for much longer, to buy out guys, which you mentioned. Miami really has a lot of options.
I want a backup point guard. I want Kyle Lowry to be able to take a night off and have a true point guard in his space. Whether I'm not talking about a guy just scoring, like I would like, a Rondo type guy. Obviously, he's in LA, so that's no go. But like a Brad Wanamaker, a veteran point guard that can handle his stuff, because I don't want Tyler to be, touching no starting point guard. And
I don't see that happening.
You know what I mean? I don't. They tried that last year; it didn't work. Let Tyler HERRO just be a bucket, but you need to bring up a backup point guard. That's what I'm looking for. Now, can Oladipo be that? We'll see. But right now, if I'm thinking about a need for this team, rebounding and then a point guard.
And nothing towards Gabe Vincent. He's been pretty good this season. He had that game. I think it was Indiana. I'm not sure. He had a good game. There was one of those games where he just completely went off. Mm-hmm. He impressed. I think it was that Indiana game. I'm starting
Indiana
to think about
and Chicago. He had two big ones.
It was the Chicago one then. It was that Chicago game. Played great. Impressed us all. Started to maybe come back and say, wow, this guy could really be the backup. But I just don't see it. I see more of a third string guy. And nothing towards the guy once again, but I think Miami needs to bring in a vet point guard. John Wall. Hopefully he gets bought out. Doesn't seem like he will, and no one's going to get a $44 million contract. And that's why Houston, I don't think, wants to buy him out either. But, man, just imagine Gogi coming back to the Heat like Dwayne Wade, man.
I wish.
Innovation.
I wish.
And then you start to think about what they would do with that number, because I know Lowry has it. Oh yes, I think he would give it back to Dragic, but I don't know. Just that story of Dragic coming back to Miami feels good, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice, man. If it not this year, maybe we make a push and we almost get there and then bring Dragic back for one last hurrah next year off the bench. I for some reason I have this inkling, man. I really have a feeling that Dragic's gonna end his career in Miami, and it might be next year, like
Yeah.
a minimum. Like I can see that. It's right. With the whole Jersey situation, knowing Goran, man, he's such a nice guy. I feel like he'll say, "No, you have it," but I hope Kyle gives that up. That seven belongs in Goran's chest, man.
I personally thought he wasn't going to give it away. I thought he was that was going to get retired. Although you just think about Goran, everything he did for the Heat, that finals run, he was the best player in the playoffs. Before his injury, he was.
Yep.
You could argue either him and Jimmy Butler, those were the best. Although Bam had been one of the best blocks in NBA history or NBA playoff history, you still have to say Goran came in. He went through it all. You know,
He
he
did.
went through the lows of this team, not losing right there, making it to the playoffs, being that ninth seed every year, to making it to the playoffs with Dwayne Wade, losing 4-1 with the 76ers. Which, and all the I need to bring you back because we could talk so much Miami Heat basketball
For
memories.
sure.
That playoff series, although it was we lost, it was so fun to watch. At least in my opinion, I usually go back and watch some of these highlights and just say, man, that we had Hassan Whiteside on the Miami Heat. I will so regret that contract now looking back towards it. But man, last question. How far can the Heat go to the playoffs? And my answer is NBA Finals. And I think that should be everyone's answer.
That is my answer as well, man. Like I talked about earlier, I am not afraid of this team against anybody, man. We just beat the Bucks 2 games already this season. Okay, we beat them healthy and we beat them not healthy. We've lost to this team. We've got swept to this team. We know their tendencies. We know what Coach Bud likes to do. We have a recipe for that. And also, what's also underrated is the way PJ Tucker got Giannis yesterday. The way he was guarding him, I didn't think it got enough credit. I think PJ Tucker really was able to learn a lot by being with the Bucks last year. I think he has some tricks up his sleeve that we've yet to see. So if we match up against them in the playoffs, I'm not worried. Brooklyn, on the other hand, man, with no Kyrie Irving, if he's not coming back, or even if he does, like either way, their chemistry. If he comes back, I think their chemistry is shot. I mean, whether they'll say it.
I don't think he comes back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna get vaccinated. That's
So
at the end of the day.
so you think about it, and it's just like, who is the team that's the most hardworking, that's never gonna give up, that has the chemistry on A plus chemistry, that plays for each other, unselfish. Nobody's ball hogging over here like Kevin Durant and James Harden. Everybody eats in Miami Heat, and I will take that 10 times out of 10, twice on Sunday against anybody. NBA Finals is what I think this team is capable of being, if healthy. Got to stay healthy. You stay healthy, I think we could take this, man.
Yeah, and that's also a big reason why they couldn't have much success in 2021. Injuries really hurt him. Jimmy was out for a long time with the protocols and the COVID. Man, it was a tough season last year, but this season seems to be a lot better. Miami, I think they're going to make the NBA Finals. I don't know who they'll face. I would love to see Heat Warriors or Heat Suns. Those would be cool matchups. And I guess I'll just end it off now. What is your ideal Heat versus who in the West matchup?
Okay. Might shock you. I want the Lakers. They
Yeah,
I want it.
I thought you were going to say the Lakers. I want it. That would be great.
I want it, man. They beat us and they don't know. I feel like they didn't respect our team enough, man.
Yeah.
I feel like they wouldn't even admit in a way. Like I think they really thought, even if they had if we had Bam and Goran, I
We
think
would have
they
won that series 100%.
yeah,
In
that
seven. In seven. If it was in 6 or 7, we would have won that series, in my opinion.
that's what I think. But I think the Lakers think they would have won regardless. And to me, that pisses me off so much that I want them again. I want them again, and I want to beat them. I want the Lakers unfinished business. Give me Lakers, Heat. Give me the Heat beating them. That's what I want.
Oh, Heat in 5, by the way. But yeah,
Let's go. Let's go.
I don't know if you saw this on Twitter that time around. It was that final game, the elimination game. It was game 5. They wore the Kobe Bryant jerseys, and I don't know, and that was because they were so confident they were going to beat the Miami Heat that game that they wore those for Kobe. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. But And Jay Crowder said, "I don't care about no damn jersey." I'm pretty sure he said an explicit, but I'm not going to say it here.
Mm-hmm.
He said something, and they won. That was another Jimmy Butler banger game. I think it was one of those 40-point games.
Yep.
And I will always remember that NBA matchup. I don't care if they lost. Those are one of those where we could go back and say that was one hell of a series at the end of the day, because it was Jimmy Butler versus LeBron James. Fourth quarter, it was a back and forth type thing.
Yeah, and he wanted it, man. He was guarding him full court. He was picking him up full court. He was getting all those buckets, triple doubles, and guarding LeBron. Like, Jimmy deserved that finals. Jimmy and Goran deserved that championship. And
UD as well, in my opinion.
and yes, and Udonis has him for sure. Unfinished business, man. I want that rematch. I want it.
And this is exactly where we ended. An hour and 5 minutes. I did expect this to be around this time. Man, Nando, thank you for coming on, man. If you have any last words for the people watching.
Keep listening to Kevin, man. First of all, Kevin, thanks for having me. We talked about doing this. I'm glad we were finally able to get it done. You do an amazing job of what you do with Sports Corner, man. I love what you do with the Marlins as well. Hopefully we get back to the brighter side with the fish. And
Yeah.
just keep doing your thing, man. I'm proud of the work you've been doing, and I'm incredibly grateful to be joining you today, man.
Yeah, man. The same goes to you. Make sure to subscribe to the KO Sports Corner. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Check out the work we do at Fish Stripes as well. Follow my guy Nando at Sports Vibes 305. He has his own podcast. You could, talk a little bit about what you do, man. I mean, just tell the people.
I have a podcast called the Miami Sports Vibes Podcast. Pretty much chopping it up, all Dolphins, all Heat. I get into some Marlins talk in there as well. It's just your typical Miami sports fix in one podcast, rather than listening to just one Dolphins, one Heat thing. It's all in one. So Miami sports fans from the 305 area, check me out. You can find it on all podcast platforms.
And I will definitely link it below, man. Once again, thank you, man, for being here. It was a great time. I'll definitely bring you back once the Dolphin season over. Hopefully, we're talking about playoff time. Hopefully, we're talking about the Heat being the buyers. We're all praying for that. We're all hoping for it, man. Once again, my name is Kevin Barat, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace out and have a great day.